These are very exciting times for the epilepsies. We've always known epilepsy is not a one diagnosis, it's a symptom, and it's a group of rare disorders. And really, DRAVET syndrome is one of those diseases that have led the way. We found by carefully defining the phenotype by Charlotte DRAVET and having a recognisable disease type, we then went forward and the gene was discovered, SCN1A, and mutations of that accounting for the vast majority of children presenting with this syndrome. And then that has just led to an explosion of research, both from looking at what's happening with the gene and what's happening with the clinical disease and how we can move forward with treatments. We've had new treatments emerge and there's been a lot of interest in the cannabinoids, not least because cannabinoid extracts were utilised by a group of parents and their children in the United States, not really legal in many states, not really legal in the UK if there's more than 0.5% THC, which is tetrahydrocannabidiol. The cannabinoids are made up of different cannabidiols, and tetrahydrocannabidiol is that is thought to cause the psychoactive component of cannabis. Cannabidiol, pure cannabidiol, does not, and this is what the interest has grown in with regard to utilisation in many medical conditions, not least epilepsy. The first randomised control trial was indeed in DRAVET syndrome. This was published in May of this year and demonstrated benefit over and above placebo in reducing seizures, convulsive seizures, in children with DRAVET syndrome. They've then gone on to also look at other types of epilepsy, so it may not be specific to DRAVET, but certainly in DRAVET this would add another medication that could help these children, albeit not the miracle perhaps that some people thought that this might be. I mean, there's no doubt we're trying to look at newer medications all the time, and we're even looking at different ways of giving the ketogenic diet, for example, which can be very beneficial in children with DRAVET, and there's a small component of that we're trialling too. But, you know, not only it's exciting as we move towards getting some of these medications licensed, giving us a greater armamentarium of treatment for these individuals, but then also trialling new treatments can be problematic because there's only a limited pool of children and we don't want to keep trialling things on them. That aside, we can utilise other ways. We know there's a lot of continuing animal studies, in vitro studies looking at the compounds that may be helpful. There's different ways of looking at the gene abnormality itself and looking to see whether compounds may specifically affect that. So certainly there's lots more that can be scoped, but I think the fact that there's the treatments coming out that are promising and being more effectual than we've got at the moment is extremely exciting for the families themselves. However, you know, we always continue to look at the seizures, and there's a lot more to this condition than just the seizures, not least the learning issues, the behaviour, and I think there's a lot more for us to explore in how we can help those components and whether those components actually will improve if we're treating the disease in a different way earlier.